Matt, we're good.
Hello, this is Brett Chumley, and I'm going to call the Benton Historical Commission meeting in order. Can you, Jason, please call roll?
Shelley Reed, Wanda Posey, Alyssa Turner, Kevin Malone, Daryl Wood, Deanna Hogue, Brett Chumley.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Can you read the statement of the FOI compliance statement? And everybody answer by saying affirm. I affirm.
I affirm that I have not engaged in any prohibited discussion, deliberation, or polling regarding any item on this meeting's agenda outside of a properly noticed and open meeting in compliance with the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act as amended by Act 505 of 2025. Please affirm when I call your name. Alyssa Turner, Kevin Malone, Deanna Hogue, Brett Chumley.
I affirm. Hopefully everybody's been able to look at the minutes. Do I have a vote? All in favor? Or second? Thank you. Do we have any old business? Okay. All right. Go ahead, Jason.
First off, thank you everybody for showing up for this meeting. This is one of the first meetings we've had in quite a while, so I thank everybody. We do have two items on the agenda for new business. The first item is a certificate of appropriateness for a sign at 101 South Market Street, the Democratic Party of Saline County. Basically, an overview of this. This was originally I believe there was some miscommunication. Just kind of give an overview of the project. Some miscommunication between city staff and the applicants. This goes back to July of last year when Bruce Thomas was the interim director at the time. Roughly August, communication was lost between all parties. Martha West contacted me back in early February once I sent a notice out. She was very helpful on everything, and they got their applications in and have met all the requirements. Come here, you see her letter, you'll see the sign. As far as code compliance, this sign does meet. I consider it a sign because of the orientation of it. It is not we want to all call it a mural. I differentiate a sign versus a mural. A sign, you put it in, it's encased. If you look at the building, some of the original building, there were actually two cases on that side right there, and this covered both cases. There was the old Everett sign. I know there was questions on why the sign was removed. Speaking with the property owner, I believe there was a lease on the sign, and the lease ended, and so they removed the sign. The Democratic Party of Saline County, which is right there on the corner with their office, put the mural in. I think there was some verbal okays, I believe, from staff, and they proceeded forward not knowing any better. So we contacted them. They have rectified the issue. As far as code, the sign does meet code. It is less than 10% of the building elevation, and that is standard across the whole city, including the HDC. What we are here tonight to discuss is, of course, that, and then it's awarding a certificate of appropriateness, which is essentially a denial or approval of the sign by the HDC. With that said, I will take any questions. There's plenty of pictures that were provided. The one requirement that had not been met until I saw it about earlier this week was if you read our downtown guidelines, it requires the business name to be on the sign, and they have put a plaque down in the bottom right corner that says Saline County Democratic Party, which meets the requirement. That was the only outstanding requirement as far as code. So now it's here with the HDC. With that said, would the applicant representative like to come speak? And if you'll just, when you have a chance to sign your name
All right.
and address. Thank you.
My address or the location of the
You can
business?
do the location, that's fine, with your business.
All right. This is 101 South Market.
And don't forget to turn the mic on, please.
I think it should be already, it should already be green, I hope.
All right. So we organized a competition between the schools in Saline County to get high school students to paint us what we were calling at the time was a mural. And we had some submissions, and we had a board that voted, and this was the one that they voted for. And we feel like our county is growing. There's more and more people here, and people are very diverse. I mean, each one of you is diverse from the other person sitting next to them. So, but there are pockets of people who may feel disenfranchised. They may not feel like they're seen. So this young lady that painted our what we call the mural tried to be inclusive of everybody that's living in the county so that everybody feels like they're seen and welcome here. Diversity in the county brings new businesses, brings new foods, brings new clothing, brings new style. And when people feel empowered, they're going to invest in the community. We got some recent figures or pictures of some of the teens that were graduating from school posing in front of the new mural or sign. So we request that it be approved so that it represents all of Saline County.
Any questions from the commissioners?
It is written in our lease for our space, the office that we have there. It's written into the lease.
So if the Democratic headquarters leaves, then the sign will leave?
Possibly, yeah.
The question was, if the Democratic headquarters leaves, then will the sign leave? Because the sign is not being leased, it's not a lease space like it was at one time. It's now a part of their contract.
Right. Well, I would think we would probably remove it, yeah.
But you have no plans presently of leaving the space anytime soon?
No,
Okay.
we just signed the lease.
Any other questions, commissioners? Okay. Thank you, Martha. Any comments from the public? You'll please come to the microphone. Put your name and an address, please. Give us your name. Okay, go ahead. You can go to the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Commission members. My name is Tim Kane. I'm a citizen of Benton. We've lived here since 2014. I don't want to make an argument about legality or any of that. It's more of what the message is sending. And it's certainly nothing against any individuals in this room at all. But when we see signs, this sign is entitled Justice for All on the sign, but if it's meant to suggest that people represented or denied justice in Saline County, I think that fails. That comes up a little short because it assumes the false claim that there's no justice for them. For example, everyone represented in the sign can go to urgent care tonight. No one's going to get turned away. Just as everyone not represented in the sign can do the same. Everyone represented on the sign pays the same price for chicken at Walmart as everyone not represented in the sign. Everyone represented the sign pays the same amount for gas as everyone not represented. So we could go on and on about these examples, but I don't think the sign represents justice for all. Rather, I believe it sends a message, and this is nothing personal against the people who supported or did it. But I think when I see that, I think about the woke progressive ideology that has really caused division in a lot of our cities like New York, Dearborn, San Francisco, Portland, Minneapolis, and other cities in the United States. Communities like ours are not held together by group identities. It's held together by shared civic framework that protects every individual, regardless of background. One constitution, one system of laws, and a common commitment to uphold them for all individuals. That framework is the foundation of equal justice and lasting freedom. History is very clear on this. When societies elevate group identities over shared laws that protects individuals, they don't become more just, they actually become more unjust. Trust erodes, unity fractions, and justice turns to selective instead of equal. We're seeing some of that in Europe right now, unfortunately. If we truly believe in justice for all, our message should reinforce a simple unifying truth of one nation under one constitution and one system of laws. Our Declaration of Independence states we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So our rights as Americans and citizens of Benton come from our Creator, and they don't come from government. Here's just a few quotes from the founders of our nation that speak about Christianity's influence on the founding of our country. John Adams said this: the general principles on which the fathers achieved independence were the general principles of Christianity. I will avow, then I believe, and now believe, that those general principles of Christianity are as eternal and immutable as the existence and attributes of God. John Quincy Adams said this: in the chain of human events, the birthday of the nation is linked with the birthday of the Savior. The Declaration of Independence laid the cornerstone of human government upon the first precepts of Christianity. And Benjamin Rush, the father of public education, said this: I do not believe that the Constitution was the offspring of inspiration, but I am satisfied that as much of the work of divine providence as of any miracles recorded in the Old and New Testament. And there are many, many others that we can find on this. So again, I don't believe the sign, and I think it's well intended, but I don't think it represents all the people of Saline County. And I appreciate your time, and I'll be glad to take any questions.
I think you're missing the point there. It says and justice for all. It doesn't say justice for all. You know, that doesn't offend me at all. You guys are trying to make this political, in my opinion.
No, sir.
And I don't see that here. As far as it being considered a sign, I think if you'll go look at the state law, this could be classified as a mural.
Well, so, Commissioner Malone, I looked at that. I looked at the difference of a sign is something that can be removed without affecting the facade. If you look at other murals, they are actually painted directly on the brick.
That's not true. I've seen the statutes on mural, it can be hung or painted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
And-
just,
Yeah.
my interpretation was to consider this
I
a
think
sign.
legally, they could take this to court and they would win because this would get classified as a mural. A sign has to advertise something for a business. This advertises nothing, you know, and this is kids in high school. I just don't get this, making this political. That's
I
my
don't believe I
opinion.
am. I'm just stating my
Well, you
opinion.
said justice for all. That got me right there. It doesn't say justice for all. It says and justice for all. That's a big difference right there. That one word, yeah.
And
You just don't see it the way I do. I can understand that too.
Okay.
That's why we're,
That's
this
fair.
is, this is America. That's why we love it here.
would you mind if I ask a question? Would you have a problem if the same thing happened and somebody put up a cross in the Ten Commandments as a sign that met the definition?
Well, that's not legal in Arkansas. You know, no, if they put it on private property, I don't care what you do. Yeah, but if you put it on a
Fair
government building, you know, that's,
And I know this is private property, so again,
Yeah.
I'm not arguing the
Yeah, yeah,
legality
but I'm
of it. I'm just talking about the
I
message.
kind of researched this and I go back to the original point. To me, I think this would end up being classified as a mural. Because that's it meets the qualifications of a mural, and a sign has to sell something, and this sells nothing, you know.
Well, you've obviously studied the law better than I have. on
Well, I
that,
haven't studied
but-
the law, I just glanced at it, you know, Google's your
Yeah.
friend.
And again,
but-
I'm not making a legal argument.
Yeah, but I
I'm not
just,
saying that it's illegal. I mean, I
it sounds like
believe in the
it
First
sounds like a
Amendment.
legal argument to me that you are trying to make. I'm not afraid of a sign, you know, I just don't see it offending anybody.
And this sign comes from a community, from our future. These are high school kids. They're the ones who are going to be our future. And
I understand.
this is the way they see it. And the committee voted on a selection of things. Anyone could have submitted, so.
That's true, yeah, there's no
So this-
prejudice in that, is there?
uh,
Well, you know, there's another point to be made here. I've been on the Historic District Commission since it was formed. We have never had a review for a mural, you know? So if you change the classification on this, it wouldn't matter what they put up. And you can look that up in the statutes too. A mural can be political, and they have the right to do it. So, you know, it's not saying that, but it's
Yeah,
just,
I'm not saying they don't have the
Yeah,
right to
yeah.
do it.
It's just-
That's not right.
So Commissioner Malone, I will say from the get-go, and I believe Martha and her crew would back me up, and anyone else I've spoken to on the phone, as a city, we are not looking at the content
yeah,
of a
that's,
sign.
and you can't.
Because
Yeah, legally you
it goes
can.
back to,
Right,
it goes back to Reed versus Gilbert, Arizona, and with Supreme Court, we have to, it's content neutral, and that's why, in my opinion, and
Yeah,
Commissioner Malone, we may disagree, this was brought to me by the city attorney, we had to figure out a way to do it, classifying it as a sign and getting the formal
And-
approval was the way to go. I believe most murals typically have gone through at least the city council to be
no.
dedicated in,
No.
but,
No.
okay, well,
No.
that's,
Uh,
so,
No,
we were pretty mural happy there for a while
Okay.
downtown. And that's another point there. When they did find out, when you did classify it as a sign, they went through all the loopholes to make it legal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
yes,
yeah.
they have followed all the process.
Yeah.
When I talked with Ms. West and her party,
right,
was that, my opinion, the sign was not in compliance because we classified it as a
Yeah.
sign. It was out of compliance, and we treated them no differently than we treat anybody that did work without a permit. So,
Right,
okay,
right.
you
Yeah,
got
we've
the
done that.
applica- you got the application in, and now we're going through the process.
yeah, we've done that before.
So
and
right or
that's-
wrong,
yeah.
this was
Yeah.
going, to talk with city attorney and others, was to go ahead and have it as a sign and run it through the process to
Yeah.
make it
So legally,
formal approval.
yeah, it's all, everything's right about the permit. So to me, that's our only job is to, if it's all legal and, you know, we should do it.
Are there any further questions for me? Thanks for your time.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak on this issue? And I had spoken to Mr. King before, and I should say this to everybody, we're trying to limit the comments to 3 minutes, that's standard. Mr. King, I had roughly like 3:30, so I gave it a few extra seconds, but, if you don't mind, we'll be right around 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to read mine. I've got two pictures here. Well, this mural has the pride flag in it, which is setting apart the whole mural. And I do consider it a mural. The pride flag is a modern icon. It stirs emotions based upon a point of view, much like the Nazi party icon or the U.S. flag. What point of view is the pride flag founded upon? What is the foundation from which it was created? That answer in just a moment. But let's first understand the power of icons or iconography. Iconography, according to Webster's Online, is the imagery or symbolism of a work of art, of an artist or a body of art. Great meaning is invested in the icons or symbols. This is one of the reasons they're powerful. For example, the Battle of Iwo Jima, very powerful. The symbolism of a hard-fought battle at a great cost over a small Japanese island that was controlled in the Pacific. The U.S. Marines expended tremendous effort to win the battle. It was strategic for the Pacific theater of World War II. The pride flag was created not to unify, but to divide. Designed and created by, in 1978 by a sodomite, cross-dressing man, Gilbert Baker, at the suggestion of politician Harvey Milk. Milk was identified with someone who participated in pederasty. What is that? That is someone who's interested and participates in adolescent and adult sexual relationships, adult male to adult or adolescent male. The pride flag is utilized as a cudgel to attempt to normalize deviant lifestyle philosophies and choices. Sodomy is not normal, nor is it healthy. In fact, it is destructive, and there is data to support this assertion. In our current cultural climate, rejecting the pride flag is equivalent to not loving someone or rejecting a legitimate cause. But the pride flag, or the cause it represents, is contrary to the biblical design for relationships and human flourishing. And that's what's on the mural. What is the standard, then, I ask you? God's word and the Creator. For example, how about Matthew 19? Haven't you read, he replied, that he who created them in the beginning made them male and female? He also said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, man must not separate. Twofold implications from Jesus' own mouth. Number one, man must not separate what God has joined together in the marriage of a man and woman. Number two, man must not separate, do not change the created design and order of God in order to manage how marriage is defined. A man, a woman, a male, a female. Now, our opponents will on this issue will cry, it's about love and inclusion, but the reality is the pride flag's embrace of love is sinful and destructive. Truth and reality are not dependent on the feelings or sensibilities of a person. The truth transcends all of us.
Time.
I can leave a copy of this if you'd like.
Any questions, commissioners? Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? And you'll have about 3 minutes. You can give your name, please.
Like that?
Can you,
Sorry.
can you
Fine.
sign your name? State your name.
My name is Hannah Russell, and thank you guys for giving me a few minutes to speak. I just have a very short it's paragraph that I've written out, and I am speaking on behalf of a lot of other young people in the community. I do appreciate that you said that that was painted by our future. I consider myself part of our future, and I am part of a very large group of young Christian conservatives. So I am very interested in history, and I'm not here to point a legal aspect out. I'm just here because I believe that as citizens of a county, the citizens have a say in what goes on, and that's why we're having the meeting. So I believe I looked up the history of Benton itself. Benton was founded by a man who stood for truth, even when it cost him. Thomas Benton, founder of Benton, Arkansas, spoke out against the evils of his time, and we should do no less today. The mural in question depicts values that are not just controversial, they run counter to biblical foundations on which this town was shaped. Benton's history is one of faith, family, and traditional values still cherished by the majority of our citizens. Honoring history doesn't mean rewriting it. We should celebrate what truly defines Benton. its churches, its beautiful historic buildings, its enduring moral compass, its patriotism, and its heritage rooted in the Bible and family. We don't tear down history for the latest trend. Instead, I ask this council, in respect of our past and on behalf of the citizens of Saline County, to have the mural removed. Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak? Please come up, write your name and address down, and state your name, please. Thank you.
My name is Jeff Davidson, and I'm a citizen of Benton. I too will just read some comments. Thank you all for the chance to speak with you today. I do genuinely appreciate it. I just want to reference the Downtown Benton Design Guidelines Manual that you all use to make your decisions. Chapter 1, page 7 of that document reads the following. The goal of the Historic District Commission is to ensure the preservation and maintenance of historic buildings in downtown Benton. Chapter 2, page 8 says the purpose of this commission is to, now I won't read them all, but a few that stand out to me. Effect and accomplish the protection, enhancement, and perpetuation of such areas and improvement and of districts which represent or reflect elements of the city's cultural, social, economic, political, and architectural history, foster civic pride in the beauty and accomplishments of the past, protect and enhance the city's attractions to tourists and visitors, strengthen the economy of the city, and promote the use of the historic districts and landmarks for the education, pleasure, and welfare of the people of the city. I would just say that we all do make decisions based on our values. And the job of the Historic Commissions is to look at the values of the history of our county, and your guidelines are very clear about that. And I would argue that the current sign at 101 Market Street does not reflect the values historically or even presently at large of Saline County. You must consider the values of the majority of your constituents and the historic traditions of our city and county, which, from my understanding, are what a sign or mural-like painting in a historic district like ours should reflect. Benton residents do largely hold Christian values. They believe marriage is between a man and a woman. That's the way they voted, even back in 2004, which was a while ago, I realize, but they did vote for marriage to be between man and a woman. They attend church on Sunday. Many read their Bibles publicly and privately. This is who your constituents are. This is who I am. I'm a young person as well, and that's how I lead my family. Secondly, when you look at our city and county, we have a historic tradition of Christian values and practices. You'll notice that we don't have in the city of Benton proper, no mosques, no pagan temples, no public readings of the Quran, just Christian people who attend church on Sundays and go about their business. I believe large signs in a historic district like Benton should reflect those values of the community at large in which they are put up. And the sign simply does not do that. And as for the Injustice for All piece, the invitation to all local schools, I'm a principal at Arkansas Christian Academy, and we were not contacted to contribute to the mural at all either. So I wouldn't say that all students were given that opportunity, unfortunately. Though, of course, that is a personal decision. Each group can decide how they want to do that. So I simply hope and ask that you consider denying the certificate of appropriateness for the sign. Now, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak on this issue? Well,
You have to come up.
yeah, if you go into the microphone, you're. Just write your name and address down, and just state your name, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Jill Ashley, and like I said, I had no clue that this was happening. We're here for a totally different reason. But I just want to call on the fact that I think I heard you say that he was asking if you could put a flag with a cross or something on there, that you said that that's against the rules. but they're allowed to do the.
No, I didn't say that was against the rules. You can't do that on state or federal property. You can do
Okay, but
anything you
this is
want on private property.
So on private property, he could put the
Exactly.
Christian flag, just like they could put
He
their.
could put
So
anything,
this is
well,
just- the thing is that this is just what's legal, what isn't.
right,
I mean, because everybody, they can have their own building, their own private building, they can put the Christian flag and their beliefs on it too, right?
right. Well, that's what churches do.
Yeah, that's what I'm just
Yeah,
saying. So this
yeah.
is, I mean, really and truly, we're just, it's legality.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, they're
There's
doing.
nothing
what is
illegal
legal
about
for
what they're
them,
doing. Yeah,
Then that, as me, because I'm a believer too,
Yeah.
in the Christian, and I would definitely want to do the flag and all the, Christian flag and all this stuff. That's what I would stand for. But like you said, the legality is that they
yeah.
have the right.
This
just like
committee's
we have
not the
the
place to decide.
Right,
is
okay. see,
legal-
this
legal
is- This
content,
is where I'm
yeah.
very interested. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here going, what? This is so, I'm just so privileged to be here because I'm just like, I'm seeing this play out in front of me and I'm like, anyway, as a believer, I see that they have their right for their private business, just like as Christians, we have the right for our private. Although I believe like 1,000% everything they say, it just stands all that. So just wanted to say that because I just was trying to clarify in my head how this is happening. Is that exactly true? Legalities for both sides, that they have their own private building, they can do their own mural, their own Christian flag, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Private property.
Any questions for me? That was just so blown away. I'm just proud of you.
Commissioners, any other comments, commissioners, or motion?
We want to make a motion to approve or deny the sign?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'll make,
Generally, motions are made in the affirmative.
yeah, yeah. I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor? Motion passes 4-0. All right, Commissioners, the next is a certificate of appropriateness for signage. This is just down the street, 111 South Marketplace, the Royal Palace. What you have in here, I'll just be honest, our guidelines are kind of wonky in that it requires a certificate of appropriateness prior to a submittal of a sign application. The problem is, we don't know it's coming to our office until a sign application is actually turned in. So that may be something I want to just kind of flip a little bit in our guidelines. So I have the application here. I had the application for this previous sign. To me, this is the better way to go. It's flagged in our system in the application, and then we come for certificate of appropriateness. So if everybody's okay with that, that's kind of how I'll proceed. Maybe we can update our guidelines. But this is being brought, the applicant is being represented by Arkansas Sign and Neon. And they are, what I'm seeing is they're refurbishing the Royal Palace sign with LED, new lighting. They will have to remove the sign, I believe, and then they'll replace it. So with that, any commissioner comments first, or if there's someone from the applicant that would like to speak on this?
Are you with the sign company?
Have a big dog in this hunt.
If you just want to maybe give us just the scope of the project, I kind of
Okay.
did a 30,000-foot overview of it.
I will.
Thank you.
First off, we do have to remove the sign. To the top portion, not the bottom portion. I'm concerned about that. I've been in contact with Benton Electric. They said they will help us. I still got to check into the legality through OSHA, that even if those lines are booted, can I lift that sign over those power lines?
Yeah.
And Commissioners, I will say that is actually a concern that has been brought up by building code. I think the power lines are within 6 feet of the sign.
Yes.
So I know they're in talks with Darren Prysock and Benton Utilities on the best way to
Yes.
maneuver this sign around.
Did they take it down last time? I can't remember. It's been redone once before.
It hasn't been taken down. Benton Electric told me that they did boot those lines so someone could set some stuff on the buildings and they retch over the lines. That's fine and well. I think that we can do that. If I didn't think we could do it, I wouldn't even try it.
I'm convinced that yes, we're gonna unbolt that sign, we're gonna turn it sideways. As soon as we get it unbolted, we're gonna turn it around sideways. We'll be able to have our hands on it till it clears the power lines. It's still up in the air about the legality of it with OSHA.
Okay.
You know, I can't go against that. I'm gonna have to make
So-
sure.
So Commissioners, as a procedural question, and that is gonna be more of a building code and our end on the building installation side, versus just the HDC commissioners. So, just to clarify that point.
So I'm definitely one to, I just, if we make a motion, should it be contingent on the code, all of the other logistics getting through?
So my opinion is the certificate of appropriateness can either be approved or denied. We still have a sign permit ourselves in our office that is separate from the HTC approval. And so the approval can always be there, and it may not, it may not happen immediately, but the approval's there from HTC that yes or no on the sign. And then our sign permit itself will dictate the final installation and refurbishing.
Well, I will say that if it comes down, Benton Electric has said, absolutely, we cannot turn off those lines. Comes down to OSHA says we can't do it as long as the lines are live. And if I can swing a deal with Benton Electric that, look, we'll do it anytime during the night, you know, to just turn these off for 30 minutes, let us just snatch
Yeah.
it out, turn it back on. And as far as the sign, yes, from here to that wall, you will be able to probably tell a difference. From a block away, you will not. You know, we're gonna repaint it all the same colors. The LED that we're using is not like modules, it looks like neon. You know, from a block away, it'll look like neon. You know, we'll have to walk right up to it to tell that it's not. And we're not changing colors, sizes, anything like that.
I make a motion to approve this sign.
Well, one just procedural real quick. Is there any other comments from the public on this sign? Yeah, okay, we have a motion on the floor for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're gonna
Motion
do anything
passes.
to the bottom part?
Yes, sir. We're gonna do that. We'll probably start that.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this gonna be tougher so they won't break it like they did the last one? Yeah, so they can pop it with letter poppers and they won't break it. Good. I like the crowd when they broke the other one years ago, when they they redid it once before and it was beautiful, and within 2 months, the LEDs at the bottom were all broken off. I mean, they're not, the neons at the bottom, yeah. Wow. That's about when that went up. Wow, that's good.
All right,
You bet.
thank you. Other business discussion, is the HDC CLG grant.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Chair. So this was, everybody knows about this grant. 17,000 was awarded, 13,000 for the survey, 4,000 for the conference that Chairman Chumley will be going to this in July. I did speak with Ian Montgomery on this, so he's helping me out on this. Again, I've been open about it. I'm new to the HTC, so I'm going to make some missteps here. So when I make a misstep, I don't mind being corrected by anybody on the commission. But so the grant was awarded, the RFQs are out, and on April 7th, Friday the 17th, there will be the bid opening to determine who will do the survey for us. So with that kind of leads into the next discussion then, and Mr. Montgomery brought it up as well. It's been bannered about of expanding the historic district. What I would like is from each of the commissioners, since y'all are more Benton homegrown than I am for sure. If you know buildings like right outside there, right outside the district that have historical value, let me know and we can start discussing, potentially looking at adding in those additional buildings.
How hard would that be?
It's gonna be
We have to
talking with property owners. and
Yeah,
getting-
I've been
getting-
through that
Getting the new
before.
surveys done.
Yeah, we're property owners, and when I was here when, the original, and I had to, they sent me a letter, I had to agree to be a part of the
Yeah.
district. I guess not everybody has to agree, but if the, majority agrees, it's approved, I think, right? I'm not
Yeah.
sure how that works.
I'll get through the process with Mr. Montgomery and.
Yeah, because there's several that need to be included.
The super house for one.
The Super House, the Palace Theater, the old Benton City Hall.
Yeah.
The barber shop across from Allied Glass.
Okay.
The two little buildings next to it that are across from, Sue's Pawn Shop, they're unique. If you've ever looked at those, there's nothing like that in Benton, the style of those two buildings.
So as y'all
Leo was in it.
as y'all see them, if you don't mind, maybe shoot me an email or compile a list with Brett and just
Yeah.
send that list to me and I can get with Ian. 'Cause they talked about they may have some more money to be able to do the surveys to do even more surveys to get it in there and we can kind of move from there. So, one thing I spoke with a developer yesterday, and it doesn't directly affect our historic district, but it'd be seeking to almost create an overlay district in our TC zone, so our town center zone. So going out Sevier, going out south, putting in some commercial building designs. So we have a little bit higher quality of material on any new builds or refurbishing of buildings. So that's something I'm gonna be working on over the next couple of months, getting with property owners, developers, and go from there. But yeah, send me a list of the properties, and we can get those and see if maybe we can get those surveyed and start working with the state to add on and figure out the full process for it.
Some are so close too. What about the gas station? What do we want to do?
Which one?
The one that
One's
just,
under contract.
the one that just sold or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they'll want to be in,
Yeah, they probably want to tear it down.
maybe.
Yeah. But that's a shame because
Yeah.
kids don't know what a gas station looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I redid one, but it's on the
Yeah. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
don't know what a real gas station looks
interstate.
like.
The gas station's on both sides.
Yeah, the
The little,
poses,
the little
yeah,
old.
they really
Chinese
already
food.
wrecked that.
Yeah, they've wrecked it, but still, it had the, still at the point.
Yeah. But there, these buildings I was talking about in the palace and these,
Yeah,
they're
those are
in touch.
Yeah.
They need to be in our district.
Super house, definitely. I have a question about the, building that collapsed and then whoever purchased that lot and whatever they decide to rebuild. Does that have to come through us for approval?
Yes, it
to make
does.
sure it's
And it's got to
architecturally
comply with
correct?
the other buildings.
Yes.
Yeah. This district was formed when they put up the medical clinic.
Yeah.
Which is
And
not a
that's-
real estate office.
That's why it was formed, because that ticked so many people off, because then planning and zoning didn't have any guidelines, so they couldn't do anything but approve it.
Which one?
There's a real estate office on Main
The
Street.
Remax building
The one
now,
that sits back, got parking in the front.
the only building
Parks
downtown
on
that looks like it
Parks on
doesn't.
the corner.
Then you got the Remax,
Yeah.
and you got
Now is that law firm?
No,
No,
now it's
it's a real
Remax,
Okay, sorry.
real estate.
Around the corner.
right.
Come on down, then you got the dude south next to you, lawyer.
Yeah, and that's why we formed the commission, because people were sick about that, because we couldn't do anything about it. And that looks like it belongs on Military, not downtown Benton. It should be on the sidewalk, like everything else.
Okay. I was curious.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.